Hi, hello, and welcome to Journey Towards Wealth. In today's video, we will discuss how to set financial goals. Financial goals are nothing but your goal for your money or how to assign money for different aspects of your life. Now, what happens is people generally underestimate the power of setting financial goals. Basically, when you have financial goals, just like budget, you're actually giving a reason or a way for your money or a way for assigning your money. Now, financial goals can be short term, it can be medium term, it can be long term. For example, a short term goal can be that you want to go for a vacation. That's a short term goal that you need to achieve maybe in 1 or 2 years. Then it could be a medium term loan, which is for a period of 5 to 7 years. It could be like you want to go buy a house or you want to buy a big car. Those are your medium term goals. Or you have a long term goal. Your long term goal could be any goal which is above 7 years of time. It can be your retirement need, your kids' education, or it could be financial freedom, any of it which needs a longer time to achieve. Those are your long term goals. So it's very important for you and your family to sit down and understand what the financial goals are for your household. Again, financial goals are very specific and it has to be with a measurable manner. It has to be measured, so it should be measurable. Another thing is, it is very personal. It is very much about your family and your family's needs. That's how financial goals should be set. It cannot be at random some goals based on seeing some other people's goal or based on the data available in the internet. It has to be a goal which is very specific to you and your family, and also it has to be a personal financial goal. It has to be very personal. It cannot be at random some goals. So let's first understand how can we set financial goals. The first and foremost step for you to do when you want to achieve financial goals is to write down your financial goals. It has to be very specific and measurable. Also, you can write all your wish list, whatever you want to achieve with the money that you are earning. That is perfectly fine. The wish list is it's not important that it has to be only long term goals. There may be very short term goals also which may you want to achieve. Maybe you want to upgrade your laptop. Then it is a short term goal which needs to be achieved in the next 1 year. That also you need to add in the list of financial goals. So another thing you need to ensure is when you're listing your financial goals, it is important that it is very specific, measurable, and you also have a time frame by which you need to achieve it. For example, you are saving money for a vacation. So you need to have a very specific time frame. Whether it has to happen in the next 1 year. Are you flexible with the time frame? Or what is the cost that you assume would be as of today for that expense? Then you have to extrapolate it based on the inflation that you are looking at. So there are many things when it comes to achieving your financial goals. The first and foremost is write down your wish list of financial goals. It could be sometimes it could be very fancy wish list which you may want to achieve. You're not sure whether you will be able to achieve it, but have the list with you so that you can understand what are your financial goals that you're aiming for. One thing that you need to note here is if you have a very high interest rate debt, or you have a overdue credit card payment, it is important that you clear those debts before you actually start saving and investing for other financial goals. Such high interest paying debts and overdue credit cards should also be part of the financial goal list that you're making. It cannot be ignored. Next step after you write down your financial goals or your list, the next step is to actually prioritize those goals. Since we have made a wish list of items that you need to achieve with your money, it could also have some wants, some needs, and some even desire which is beyond your current financial situation. For example, you may be prepared for a vacation in India, but when you wrote down the list, you would have put a vacation abroad. which is perfectly fine. But it is important that you prioritize that vacation. You should be aware of the fact in the current situation, your current financial situation, you may not be able to achieve that vacation. But you will prioritize your other need based goals first, like your retirement, your kids future education. If you do not have a house of your own, then your own house, your car, then repayment. If you have a high interest debt, then repayment of that debt, all that becomes your needs at the current point of time with your current financial situation. But you may also have other list of items like going on for an international vacation or giving a better education for your kid. All that can happen provided you get an increase in your salary or a sudden performance bonus which may come up or a windfall from some relative of yours. If those things come, you may upgrade it later. But it is important for you to prioritize right now for the need based financial goals and some amount of want based financial goals. The next important step is to actually identify or classify your goals as short term goals, medium term goals, and long term goals. Why is it important for you to actually classify your goals? It's important because your investment decision will be based on the time horizon available. So, if it is a short term goal which needs to be achieved in 3 months to 2 years time frame, then you cannot invest that money in the equity mutual fund or equity or direct equity. You need to have that investment in your fixed deposit or a short term debt instrument. But if it is a long term goal, probably a goal like your retirement or your kids higher education, you have a longer time frame for that, and you can invest that amount in the equity market either through mutual fund or direct equity. So this will help your money to compound over a period of time. So it is important for you to classify your goals as short term goals, medium term goals, and long term goals. Also, you can have another classification along with this, which is need based goals, want based goals, and also luxury goals or desire based goals. So these classification will help you to understand which are the goals that you need to focus at what time frame and make your investment decisions accordingly. So once you have your goals based on the time frame in place, the next step is to create different goal based portfolios. It is important for you to actually allocate your assets based on the time frame in which you need the funds to be available. For example, if you need it within a frame of 2 years, it is always best to invest that in fixed deposits or just debt oriented funds. Whereas if you have a time frame from 3 to 7 years, you can have a mix of equity and debt based instruments. And if the time frame is more than 7 years, then you can actually invest it in complete equity oriented funds. So this kind of allocation based on different goals will help you to actually monitor and review the performances of your investments over a period of time. Now you have your goals in place, you have your portfolios in place. But the thing is, as life progresses, as things go by, changes do happen. Sometimes based on our age, our life circumstances, or our lifestyle, our goals also will keep changing. So it becomes important that you review your goals at least once a year, especially with your spouse, because you need to ensure that you are on track for achieving the goals and also that the particular goal is relevant for you at that point of time. So once you review it, you may need to add new goals or you may need to cut down on some goals which you thought was important to you and may not be relevant at this point of time. Another aspect that you need to consider here is some goals that you have to achieve in the next 1 or 2 years. Maybe your investment would not have given you a return that you were hoping to get. In that circumstances, you need to make changes in your asset allocation, or you may need to actually fund more money towards those goals to achieve it. Again, it is important that whenever there is an increase in your salary or there is some windfall that comes to you, you need to allocate higher percentages towards your investments. This will help you to ensure that you achieve your goals in a much easier and faster pace. Another thing we need to understand, or many times it gets ignored, is the exit time from your investment. As much as it is important to start your setting your financial goals or allocating your assets for your various financial goals, it is important to ensure that you exit from your investment at the right time for you to achieve your goals. Especially for an investment towards your kids' higher education, there is a time frame in which you have to exit. So if you do not exit on time and you keep holding thinking that the markets will go up and you may get a better returns, in that greed you may finally end up losing money. So if you have achieved the target in terms of the monetary requirement, then it's important that you exit at least 3 years before the actual goal and keep that money allocated to some safer instruments. So once you have gone through the entire process of setting your financial goals and having your portfolio designed accordingly and then reviewing and revisiting it, this will ensure you to achieve your financial goals on time without much difficulty. Hence, it is advisable for everyone to have their financial goals written and also to take necessary step that is needed for you to achieve the financial goals on time. Now, having gone through how to set your financial goals and how to achieve those goals, let's understand the examples or the types of goals, which is your short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. Short-term goals are those goals which needs to be achieved from 3 months or 2 years from the current time. Your short-term goals could be a vacation that you're planning for. It could be paying off your credit card, some overdue credit card that you are paying high interest on, or it could be creating an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months. It could be a goal which need to be achieved in the near-term future. That's your short-term goals. Then next is your medium-term goals. That is for a period from 3 years to 7 years. It could be to buy a house, or it could be for repayment of your other high-interest loans. It could be for creating enough passive income for financial independence. These can be your medium-term goals. Then comes the long-term goals. Long-term goals are those goals which needs to be achieved maybe 7 years and above from now. Those periods are called long-term goals. That is your retirement. Retirement, maybe if you're starting at 30, after 30 years is when you have to have the required corpus. Then your kids' higher education and also financial independence. These can be your long-term goals. These are few examples of short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. Again, you need to tweak it according to your family's condition and circumstances, and also you may add your own short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. Now, let's look at some investment options available for short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. For short-term goals, generally you can look at a fixed deposit or a recurring deposit, and also you can look at debt funds, which are more safer or are considered to be less riskier than equity investments. Now, for medium-term goals where you have a longer time frame, then you can look for some more riskier investment like ELSS mutual funds or equity mutual funds with some debt options, or you can look for some direct equity investment in good quality blue chip companies. The next option for long-term goals are you can look at equity mutual fund, especially if it is a long-term goal. You can look for small cap and mid cap also, because they would give you a better return over a longer period of time. Then you can look for equity, direct equity investments in stocks, or you can look for PPF. PPF is a very safe bet and it gives you a decent return over a period of time. Again, when you look at long-term goals, you can also look at other riskier investments like crypto or startup investments. But again, the risk involved in those investments are much more than equity investments or PPF. So only if you have that kind of bandwidth to take risk, you should look at those kind of investments. Otherwise, it is better to stick on with investments that you feel are safe and according to your risk appetite. It is very important to actually keep your investments in a way that it does not give you sleepless nights. Because if you're invested in stock market and you do not have understanding about it, and if the investment falls or when the market goes down, you get sleepless nights, it's best to avoid those kind of investments. You need to be very clear on your risk appetite. Now, we have gone in detail on how to actually set your financial goals and what are the time frames that you're looking at when it comes to setting financial goals and all those details. Also understand that these are just basic guidelines that you can follow to set your financial goals. But you need to actually adjust these according to your own individual requirement. In all this calculation, one thing you cannot ignore is inflation. Let's say, for example, today you are 30 years of age and you want to retire maybe after 20 years. And today you think that you can achieve your retirement by having a corpus of around 2 crores and you can have a good retired life. Here what you need to understand is 2 crores is a value that you need today for your retirement. But after 20 years, the value of this 2 crore will come down. So you have to include inflation in this calculation. So let's assume you're taking an inflation of around 6%. In that case, after 20 years, you will need around 600 crores to have a retirement that you have calculated. Why? Because the value of this 2 crores have actually come down drastically because of inflation. Now, if you want to have the same lifestyle that you're having for a 2 crore retirement today, you need to have a corpus of 6.5 crores in 20 years time or by the time you're 50. The same way, if you look at the higher education for your kids. Today, if the higher education for your kid may be around 25 lakhs and maybe her education or his education may be 10 years from now. By then, with an inflation of 9%, which is the educational inflation currently running, you will need around 60 lakhs for the same education which is available today at 25 lakhs. Thanks to inflation, the requirement will keep going up because the purchasing power of your money is coming down as each year passes on. So this is something we cannot ignore when we are doing a financial goal calculation. So please always be clear that you need to include inflation in your financial goal calculations, and you need to actually adjust these numbers according to the inflation changes that is happening. So I hope by now you have a clear idea on how to set your financial goals and go about with it. If you want a further detailed video on it, please feel free to put in your comment in the comment box. Your comments are very valuable for us and it motivates us to do more such videos. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel if you find this useful. Thank you so much for your time.